Welcome to the Jurrnee series of webinars, Hotel Tech Anatomy 101. 2 days ago, we started with revenue management. Today, it's BI, not BS, but BI, business intelligence. Turn your data into dollars. And I'm joined by a stellar cast of panelists who I'll be introducing to you shortly. I'm your moderator for today's event, Eric Munoz, director at Smart Hoteliers. Smart, not as in smarty pants, but SMART as the acronym, SMART, Sales, Marketing, and Revenue Tech. Smart Hoteliers is my consulting brand. I consult mostly to hotel tech companies, but occasionally I also consult to hotels. So I will be your host today. And we have, like I said, a stellar cast. Let me start with the gentleman immediately to my right, Bram van Berkel, who is at Juyo Analytics. Now, Bram, tell us a little bit about yourself and tell me specifically why I thought you were at Amadeus, but then I blinked and now you're at Juyo. What's going on?
Yeah, that's a relatively recent change, Eric. I joined Juyo about 2 months ago now, after, well, nearly a decade at Travel Click Amadeus. So, yeah, there was some good time spent there. So, hey, everybody. So my name is Bram. I'm the Chief Commercial here at Juyo. We're a data visualization tool to help hotels build their own data stories to make better decisions faster. I'm based in Cyprus, originally from the Netherlands. And before my near decade at, hotel tech, I'll say, I spent also over a decade actually on the commercial side of various branded independent hotels and other hospitality businesses. I would say all over the world, Australia, Europe, mostly. Yeah.
Are you a fan of watermeloen on a hot day in Cyprus or no watermeloen?
Many water balloons, ideally.
Yes, absolutely. That's the only real Dutch word that I know. I was just trying to use it somehow in a sentence.
Fair enough. Well, you did well.
Thank you so much. There's something else I know how to say, but I won't mention it on this particular podcast. And also joining us from OTA Insight is Niovi Alexandridou from OTA Insight. Welcome. Tell us a bit about yourself, please.
Thank you, Eric. That was a very good pronunciation. My name is Niovi. My long last name probably is a telltale sign that I'm originally Greek. I am the business intelligence sales lead for EMEA for OTA Insight. We provide rate and business intelligence solutions for the hospitality industry. I'm really excited to be here and talk about business intelligence, which is one of my passions. I started in a different industry, in shipping. I studied finance, but then fell enamored with hotels and hospitality, especially hospitality tech. And also, I also find dishwashing by hand very, very relaxing, Eric. So if you know, you know.
If you know, you know, indeed. And now moving over to my very, very, very number one favorite Trini guy in hotel tech, Jason Pinto from Pace Revenue. Welcome back, kind sir.
Thank you very much for the kind introduction, Eric, and thanks to the Revenue Hub team for putting this together and inviting me along. Really pleased to be here. Yes, with that, I can't deny I am from Trinidad and Tobago, but I guess a few other places in between. I spent some time in the US as well, where I was at a startup there before coming over here and co-founding and becoming Chief Operating Officer of Pace Revenue. So we're a London headquartered but globally distributed technology company that has built a revenue operating system for hospitality. So what that means is that we combine the best of decision intelligence to build an automated decision system that takes decisions on your rates and prices and so forth automatically in the background while you sleep. And we've combined that with a business insight system that helps the human beings make better decisions and ultimately drive for better results. So a platform, I like to say, combines the best of the human and the automated robot decision systems, all with the objective of driving better results for your business.
Music to my ears. I love the word automagically. I absolutely love it. And especially when it's appropriately used, like you just used it right now, Jason. Thank you so much. And now for the panelists, formerly known as Apo, but today will be recognized by the symbol A. Unfortunately, Apo Demirtas from Hotel IQ or Hotelic, however you'd like to pronounce it, is in a Delta lounge. He's very, very busy, but he's been able to join us all the way from US of A. Apo, welcome.
Oh, thank you. And sorry about the audio there. Yeah, I like the initial A better than my full name, Apo. Thanks for the introduction. And thanks for organizing this call. I'm the CEO and founder of Hotel IQ Business Intelligence, which we have recently renamed as Hotel IQ Decision Cloud. We are a hotel data analytics and business intelligence company. Prior to founding Hotel IQ or Intelligent Hospitality as a founding company, I was the Chief Commercial Officer of Jurrnee Group based in Dubai. Prior to that, I was with Intercontinental Hotels Group as their head of market strategy. And I head up revenue management for Hilton for owned and managed hotels quite a number of years ago. I'm a hotelier for 30 plus years with a PhD in applied economics. All that stuff has manifested itself into what Hotel IQ is today. And we work with hotel companies all around the globe. I think last time I checked, we are in 40 plus countries. The goal of the company is to take people's work out of the spreadsheets and automate a decision intelligence process by giving them all the lagging and leading insights using our proprietary analytics. Some are machine learning, AI driven, some are our own designs. That's us in a nutshell.
Okay, so we've run out of time now. I hope everybody enjoyed the webinar. Thank you, Apo, for that brief introduction. Just kidding. Now, let's to set the scene. I just want to get a 1 minute, let's say, take from you guys on this first line of questioning, but then we're going to jump into it in a lot more detail. So when we talk about business intelligence or BI, what is the difference between what you create and curate as BI and what is essentially BS in terms of what hoteliers are asking you to produce, or how hoteliers are making you try and stretch and ply and pull your BI data cubes in different directions? So in other words, from a hotel experience point of view, what is the most confusing thing for hoteliers about BI, and where does it move towards BS? Anybody wants to jump in first?
I can go first.
Sure, take us after you, please.
So I think there's a little bit of a misconception about what BI actually is or can do for hoteliers. There's many hoteliers who seem to be a bit confused between the different concepts of reporting versus dashboards versus BI, where reporting is really more about providing data or information, usually without context, usually textual or tabulated, where dashboards provide an easy way to kind of keep a pulse on the business, but BI really provides ways to explore data and to expose those deeper insights that you can truly take both strategic and tactical action with a higher chance of success because of the context in which the data is basically being presented.
Okay, thank you. And Jason?
Yeah, my very simplistic mind here, I tend to bristle at the idea that BI is just a bunch of pretty pictures, because I think that's what a lot of people think. It's just a way to produce pretty graphs. This is all about driving insight. Surfacing insight from data is all this is about. And all that is about helping the human beings who are making key decisions make better data-driven decisions. So this is all about data-driven decision-making to enable better performance, ultimately. And performance comes in many guises. Sure, we as a revenue platform are interested in driving higher revenue and profit, but also gathering insight and feedback and collaboration from other parts of your organization, driving insight into other parts of the hotel group, right? Be it to marketing or staff planning and so forth. And all of that insight can be surfaced from a business insight platform like ours. So it's more than just a couple of pretty pictures.
Absolutely. I'm going to go to you, Novi, in a second. You just reminded me, if anyone out there is into Reddit, you know, any Redditors out there, there's a great subreddit called Data is Beautiful. That's all I'm going to say. If you know, you know. Novi.
I wanted to echo what Jason said, actually, and say that sometimes we hear about BI and we think, oh, this is for the numbers person, the numbers girl or guy in the business, where actually BI is not just for revenue managers, it's for the entire commercial team, and we can even extend that further into the whole hotel organization. It's a way that we can make these decisions that are data-driven, but they can align the metrics and the targets that we have for the entire business towards the common goal, which is essentially performance.
Fantastic. And Apo, your take?
Yes, as the panel said, BI is not static, right? BI is multidimensional. It is dynamic. It's about answering the next question. But within a BI platform, and the terms BI are just so loosely used by a lot of people. I can only speak in our space, which is in hotel business. It's the marriage between the art of running hotels and science of running business, right? And you can only enable that marriage through technology. So we don't necessarily see the software we've built, Hotel IQ, as quote unquote solution. The real solution is knowing how to marry the art of running hotels with science of running business. Technology becomes an enabler in that equation. Now, in the world of BI, it's not just about answering the next question. It's about getting the data out of the source systems, right? And organizing it in a way that it can actually start speaking to you. Otherwise, data is nothing. It's a whole bunch of ones and zeros. I told this to Trevor before. It's like oil. When it comes out of the ground, it's worthless. It is only something when it's refined. So in the journey of BI, there are four main components. One, organizing the data itself, then reporting on it and using analytics, whether lagging or leading, but then planning in terms of automating through predictive capability, the forecasting and budgeting going out into the future, and for giving them the ability to collaborate through the platform. So that's what really holistic BI is from our view.
Yeah, I want to take you guys back to 1998. It actually was 1998. Niovi, you were 3 or 4 years old. And I was selling a Windows PMS. And part of this Windows PMS, because it's running in Windows, GUI user interface, was hoteliers could build their own BI dashboard, right? And it was so good to use in a sales presentation because we had the dashboard tricked up with all graphs and charts, etc. And it helped us sell the PMS. But the BI tool was basically a blank sheet. It was a blank canvas for the hoteliers to create their own widgets and pie charts and graphs, etc., etc. Guess what? They bought it because of the BI dashboard, but then they never created their own dashboard. Now, I want to throw that out to you guys. How much is you guys taking care of the UI and the experience, or allowing the hoteliers to move around widgets on a dashboard? How much do you think they should be allowed, hoteliers, to create new widgets? I'm going to use widget as a visual metaphor for data visualization. Anybody?
I think our job is really lowering the barrier to entry here, in that, we, of course, are all platforms built partly around developing business intelligence, but hoteliers and people outside of the hotel industry have been generating business insight for ages with tools like Excel. The problem is it's been hard. So it was basically done by a couple of, very special people in each organization who knew how to wrangle an Excel spreadsheet, cleanse data, etc. So our job is really to lower the barrier to entry, to make this process seamless, easy, essentially one click for the hoteliers. And of course, even within each organization, there'll be various levels of sophistication. So there'll be some people who will want to take out-of-the-box analysis that we deliver. There'll be some who will want to explore and build their own insight and build their own analysis using our platforms. But I think the important thing is to take the busy work out of the hands of the human being, right? They shouldn't be the ones messing around with cleansing data and so on. I mean, and you've probably seen this time of use study that ZS did some number of months ago of revenue managers across the industry, and they spend an insane amount of time messing with Excel spreadsheets, building forecasts, etc. Those days are over. They should be focused on decision-making and actions.
Yeah, agreed. Niovi, within OTA Insight, is it Are there any elements that users can manipulate and customize?
Yes, I mean, exactly what Jason said. We want to deliver a user experience that is easy and understandable, but we want to also give the power back to the hotelier to understand the business elements that they want to analyze at any given point in time. And obviously, there is different users that have different sort of usability of the solutions. So we want the users to be able to review the performance from top level to super granular, to customize the reports, to have dynamic dashboards that will allow them to filter and cross-filter around different dimensions. Perhaps a sales manager might want to understand corporate production by channels, by guest countries. A GM might want to see total pacing ahead or behind previous years. A revenue manager might want to evaluate the length of stay restriction. So we want to be able to give them the platform that will take them the least time possible to find these results.
Thank you. And Bram, how much better is Geo Analytics than Amadeus in terms of giving the power to the user to manipulate the data?
Love your question, man. Thanks, Eric.
You're welcome.
No, I think Gio, and it's nice that you used the word canvas before, because we actually have the functionality that we call canvas, and it brings together not only the hotel's PMS, but many other data sources around that, whether it's RMS data, review data, market data from parties like STR or rate shopping data, you name it, to be able to not just continue looking at your internal organization and the data that sits in the PMS, but to be able to build data stories with all of those additional connected sources and to correlate data between them without having to import, export into Excel and manipulate everything there. So it all comes pre-modeled. But the Geo Canvas starts from blank, but then we've designed these, what we call constellation, and you could call templates perhaps, which are a starting point, I would say, for particular types of analysis within the revenue domain, sales domain, marketing, distribution, you name it. And these constellations are a way to efficiently get to some great insights and then take it further the way you want to customize your visualizations any way, shape, or form.
So I understood that as Geo and Amadeus are both equally good.
I will say that Geo is a very different company from Amadeus with very different solutions, leveraging Amadeus as a data source, actually.
Very good, very good. Apo, are hoteliers, should they be allowed to create a brand new metric or if-then statements, or does the supplier know better and the hotelier should just look, act, and decide?
That's a very good question. Look, if they have the internal expertise in terms of analytics and business science, absolutely, by all means. At the end of the day, again, what we do is a manifestation of knowing your trade like the back of your hand, and that's running hotels and making decisions therein, and also knowing business science like back of your hand, right? So if they have that internal expertise, then go for it. But by and large, hotel companies don't have an internal expertise, and therefore they should let that be the job of the experts that are working outside of their organizations in BI companies. So in my opinion, personally, while hotel organizations focus on delivering service, and in delivering value to their owners, companies like us focus nothing but on enhancing the decision intelligence process and giving them the ability to not necessarily worry about that piece, but be a consumer of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea that hoteliers should be able to decide and cut out the busy work, I think is absolutely spot on. Hoteliers just need to be delivering the art of hospitality. And if you're not thinking or planning on a marketing strategy or a tactical campaign that will benefit the hotel guest experience, but you're knee deep in pivot tables and Excel spreadsheets, I think your energies are great, but they should be focused elsewhere. So I think it's unanimous here that everyone's singing from the same song sheet in terms of hoteliers should have the ability to customize and filter data, no doubt. But where do you think the line is drawn? Do you see, for example, do you see BI as a category in itself, or BI pervades the whole ecosystem and it's just a a reporting layer, a visualization layer across whatever particular metric we're talking about?
Well, before we go there, Eric, I just wanted to pick up on something that Niobe said, which I think is quite powerful, actually, in that, I think I mentioned in a previous webinar that I'm incredibly excited about the opportunity in front of the revenue management teams at our customers, that they really have the opportunity to be the epicenter of commercial decision-making in their organizations, right? They are the quantitative ones. They are the ones with access to all the data, so they can really drive and be the sort of center of this data-driven decision trend in their organizations. And business intelligence is a tool to do that. Business intelligence is really the tool for them to reach into other organizations, have influence in other organizations in their businesses, and really drive performance in marketing, operations, etc. So to me, this is really an incredibly powerful and underused set of products and platforms to enable revenue teams to have incredible influence across the organizations, not just on the revenue side as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's fascinating. But Jason, with Pace Revenue, you're an RMS with obviously deep, rich data analytical features. OTA Insight, you're not an RMS, but you are serving revenue managers with data. Bram, do you guys sometimes get mistaken for being an RMS?
I want to say not anymore, but I'm sure it does happen in the first conception. I think we're building out the, how to put this, Geo as truly as a BI tool, the way we've been discussing it today. And I think that confusion is gone or will be gone as people learn more about us. There's one thing I wanted to add about what we were talking about before, which is that I think there's different types or versions of BI tools that fit the needs of different types of audiences. We were just talking about user roles, a GM, a revenue manager, we all have different needs. But in that very same way, different types of hotel companies have different requirements as it comes to the depth of data that they want to drill into, the expertise that they have. And as a system, you can therefore either choose, for example, a very templated approach or a very free approach and everything in between to try and address different market segments. And I think that for most of the hotel clients, it will then be more a matter of a decision aligned with the needs that they have to go for system A or B or C, rather than really comparing them as if they were all the same type of apple.
Okay, so I think this is a perfect segue now into the discussion topic of, should BI be categorized and known as an individual software category, or is BI just a pervasive data layer across all applications? I'll start with you, Apo, because I didn't get to ask you directly. Are you an RMS, or are you a BI tool, or all of the above, plus sales, plus marketing, et cetera, et cetera?
We are a BI and decision intelligence company, data analytics company, not an RMS by any stretch of the imagination. Revenue management systems have one purpose and one purpose only, and that's price optimization. Their data model underneath is built for that purpose, right? They optimize pricing day in and day out. And the main science behind that is operations research. Now, you can take a revenue management system, use the same fundamentals, and optimize pricing for hospital surgery rooms. All is to say that BI in our space is unique to the way hotels are run, the way these decisions are made within hotel business. So for that reason, it is standalone. It serves anyone that has any stake in the financial and commercial sanity of a hotel or hotel group. With that, the data, it starts at the most granular level, right? And gets rolled up to the highest level possible, which is the hotel organization. And depending on your level within the company, you might be able to, you might want to see the insight at a high organizational level or enterprise level, or you might want to go down to the hotel level, even all the way down to rate code level. So it has many layers, and it's very complex. For that reason, I do believe that it needs to be a standalone, it should be a standalone software.
Thank you, Apo. Jason, you spoke about a revenue operating system. Do you think that equally you could call that a BI operating system? Because we're ultimately serving up insights visually that way, or is that just not just confusing terms?
Well, I think what we want to convey by use of the term operating system is that this is the base and pervasive layer that should be powering the decisions in your organization, be they automated or be they data-driven human strategic decisions. So I think, you know, that's why that term was coined and why we've adopted that as really our mantra. I think, you know, the thing that you need to hear me say again and again, I suppose at this point, is this is really about enabling data-driven decision-making. So we want this to be used in every organization in the business, not just the revenue team.
Mm-hmm. And you're currently primarily, if I'm not mistaken, focused on hotel prices, competitive prices, market demand. But can you see a day when OTA Insight expands to be more pervasive than purely rooms type revenue and maybe food and beverage or events?
I think that's an excellent question. I think generally what we hear from our customers is that, you know, they're using too many systems. If you speak to some hoteliers, they will say, I've got systems available to me that I'm not even using. So I think our role here is, and our responsibility is definitely to educate the user on the usability of the solutions, but also to create a commercial platform. So I think there is a merit in having a standalone solution or module within a PMS RMS, but thinking of a solution that is going to allow all the users to have functionality of that. Now, OTA Insight is, of course, expanding. We started from a rate shopper. This is our flagship solution, but we've added layers and layers in form of enhancements, new products, and innovation that's stemming from feedback from our customers. So we have a market intelligence solution that is also in the realm of BI in a sense. And of course, our business intelligence solution, as well as our overview, the landing platform. And of course, more and more things to come, as you probably know from OTA Insight.
Yeah, thank you. No, I think your features and functionality are quite clear. We can find them on the website, but I'm really curious to hear the insights that you guys have in terms of, Bram, with Jurrnee as being an example of a BI tool. Are you already looking across multiple revenue segments, or are you primarily rooms focused?
No, we take in total revenue. So we have different sections for example, F&B revenue, events and other. We take that from the PMS right now, but in the future there'll be straight connections into POS systems as well as a finance system to get very detailed transactional or reservation level data coming out. So you can steer and analyze at a total revenue level which business is more beneficial to have than others. And then actually we're taking that a step further as well, Eric, which was just prompted by what you said. It was also Neville on the call, was it Monday or Tuesday, who was saying that there's really a need to drive it down to profitability level. And we're actually already doing that. So taking into consideration not just the direct distribution costs such as OTA commission, but also allowing hotels to look, for example, at sales and marketing payroll and break that down and eventually by actual reservations. So you might have that leisure sales manager, his payroll costs should really be allocated to the bookings driven part of the leisure sales segment. So being able to really do that at a very detailed transactional level, it allows you to look at segments, at channels, at countries, not just by revenue, but truly by profit contribution. Because in the end, we're no longer managing for top line revenue, or we shouldn't be managing for top line revenue. We should be managing by what stays behind after the guest has checked out.
Yeah. Thanks, Bram. I think by virtue of your comments, you're an advocate for saying that BI should be pervasive, whether it's a revenue operating system, but pervasive across all revenue line items and also associated costs.
Yeah, I definitely think it should be taking in data from every single source that's available. But I do believe, to answer your question you were asking earlier, that BI is its own category. It's a connector.
Okay, thank you. Apo, is there a one-size-fits-all in terms of BI? Like, is a stock standard off-the-shelf standard version BI equally applicable for Ma and Pa Kettle Hotel or a multi-property casino resort in Vegas? And everything.
Excellent question. The answer is no, because again, all those different verticals have different business models, and therefore, while the underlying data structure and data model might stay intact, but the way really you customize to different different sections of hotel business and hospitality is necessary. One size doesn't fit all. Within our company, for example, we work with extended stay, limited service brands, as well as very high-end luxury hotels. And again, they're all they work differently. They have different business models, and therefore we customize. Even though it's a SaaS platform, meaning it's in the cloud, but we still customize it to the needs and the business models of those hotel companies. One size absolutely doesn't fit all, and if you try to fit it all in one size, you're not going to be able to, or you won't be successful.
I think I could argue the case both for and against that situation. Not that I want to, but Jason, how do you feel about this idea of a one size fits all, or could your revenue operating system mantra be applied to any type of property, or is there some that need more TLC?
Clearly not one size fits all. And in fact, we have quite prescriptive views on how our product should be used, etc. To get a little product nerdy for a second, we have user personas in mind when we build our product. And these are, real human beings that we talk to every day. And so our product, is not the right one for, the individual property, quite frankly, because of the sort of feature set that we built around groups and teams and so on. So there certainly are other products for that. However, even within our product, we do actually build it around multiple user personas. So we do have the admin user, the cluster user, the sort of individual property RM that we're focused on, and that will broaden to people outside of RM eventually as we take in more and more data, because ultimately, again, as I mentioned, I think this, the data-driven decision-making is something that should be done in every organization. So we'll have personas in every part of the hotel group as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, for our audience members out there, if you have a question, just type it in the chat. We had a lot of very interesting questions from our audience members on Tuesday when we were covering revenue management. So this is not a closed group in terms of the questions and answers. You please feel free to use the chat function there if you're on LinkedIn or you're on YouTube, and we'll be happy to ask your questions live to our panel of experts. So coming over to you, Niobe, can you give me, let's say, your sense for at what time a hotel is ready for BI, or do you need the hotel to at least reach a certain level of sophistication in operating and agreed to they should be performance oriented before they're ready for any BI tool, not just yours, but any BI tool?
I think this is, it's a perishable inventory, right? That's why revenue management exists. I think any business can take notice and learn from the data. And I think business intelligence sounds like something that is something that should be for the top tier or for the very advanced of hotels out there or hospitality operations. But in fact, any hotel that has reservations coming in and out has a pool of very dense data. And how can we optimize the performance of our property unless we can dissect this data and understand, the booking patterns, what sort of business is coming in, where can we make the most out of business that we might be missing? So I guess to answer your question, BI can be used by any sort of operations, no matter how sophisticated they are. Of course, having some sort of basic tech stack in order to be able to collect this data is necessary. But regardless of the level of the operation, the size of the operation, BI is essential, and it's no longer should I have a BI? I think now it's which BI should I have in my property?
Yeah, thank you for that, Niobe. Bram, I'm going to throw this question to you because I know that you are a student of hotel tech, and you also watch my podcast series Backyard Banter. So this is why I'm asking you this question, because you probably have a good insight in the sense that for some hotel types, would it be not crazy, but perfectly understandable for them to use OTA Insight, Pace Revenue, Hotel IQ, and Juyo? Is there a case for that? Because there's small overlap, maybe a small overlap, but there's large differentiation, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that statement, actually, in the sense that we are all very, very different. And it kind of is what I was saying before as well, where, you know, if you're analyzing different BI tools available, you will find one that is probably more likely to satisfy your needs than others. Because we have different focuses, different functionalities, different capabilities, different integrations. You know, it's great if you want to work with us, but if we don't right now have a connection to your property management system, for example, yeah, we should probably get there first. To use them all side by side, I think that would be overkill. You know, one of the things that we're trying to do is make it easier and faster to reach decisions. So unless there's a very clear case where there's certain, call them unique points of one system and certain unique points of another system that you really both want to use, I would say you're probably going to be ending up wasting a lot of time in the various systems.
Yes.
I think it should be clear after, you know, a demo and a pitch to understand which of the perhaps two systems align most closely to your needs.
Okay, thank you. We actually have a question from the audience for Niobe, but I think this question can be answered by anybody as well, but they haven't given their name, but it says a question for Niobe. Niobe mentioned that you need a tech stack to use BI. What is the minimum required solutions to get the most out of your BI? I think they're saying if you've got no PMS and no booking engine, you run off a little diary, a paper diary on your front desk, which is something that some hotels still operate from. Obviously, BI could still be used for you because you can log into a cloud system to at least understand what's happening in the market. But do you understand the question?
Yeah, I think it's you know that the answer depends very much to what sort of company, which sort of BI company you're talking to, because of course you might have different BI systems that integrate to different sources. So in OTA Insight case, an integration with your PMS is your minimum requirement for that matter. But there might be that different systems work differently. I would say if we don't think about it as a minimum requirement in terms of technology and think about it as a minimum requirement in terms of optimization of our revenues, I think there's certain things that a hotel should consider when it comes to tech stack. So your PMS, your booking engine, your channel manager, your rate shopper, your RMS, your BI. Okay,
thank you. Jason, what's your take on that?
Yeah, you're surprised to have an opinion on that, right? I think one instructive thing is to look at other industries. So I came from outside of the hospitality industry. This is really my first foray into the industry. And a lot of our team, actually most of our team came from outside the industry. And I think that provides a wealth of insight about what other industries have done in their own journey of digital transformation. Because this is really not about BI or PMS, RMS, or anything. The real trend and the real secular trend that's happening in this industry is digital transformation, yeah? People moving off of pen and paper many years ago and adopting a PMS and connecting to booking, and then taking the next step and integrating that PMS with other platforms. So I think really looking outside of the industry is pretty interesting and instructive. But I think the other really important part is about having people that are eager to actually be on that journey, people that are eager to learn, yeah, so to add to their skill sets, because really a lot of it is available for free. So people who are eager to learn and adopt and change, I think is pretty important to hoteliers being on this journey. But at the end of the day, all of that means that there's a ton of really exciting low-hanging fruit here. Because if you're taking your first steps on that digital journey, which hopefully parts of which will be buying or retaining a business insight platform, you're going to see huge gains out of the box, just incredible gains out of the box.
Yes. I want to flip over to Apo. Apo, where do you see BI and the aggregation of tech stacks or data sets in the next 5 years? If what we're discussing is based on today's technology, where do you see this evolving in next 5 years?
Yeah, good question there. Building on what Jason has just said, this is going to evolve into becoming a digital workspace for hotels, right? Taking them out of the manual environment, which is their comfort zone today for the most part. You're getting them out of that environment. Again, building on what Jason has said, having them start thinking differently, and turning them into consumers of information as opposed to producers of them, right? Going forward, the direction this is going, and we are actually as a company going, is really building this digital workspace for hotels, whether that is for their revenue, to your earlier point, or food and beverage revenues, which we look at very, very carefully and analyze within Hotel IQ, right? Because you need to understand the total, you need to understand the landscape from a total revenue standpoint and every nuance and detail underneath. But then that alone is not enough. I talked about having the ability to structure the data, to organize the data through a master data management platform, which is very user-friendly to hotels to use. About complex behind the background is important. But all that is within the space of digital workspace. So that is where we think this is going. I can envision a world in 3 to 4 years, perhaps 5 max in our view, where hotels just work within this digital workspace called decision intelligence to not only make their decisions, but also communicate through it using the intelligence area.
Thank you. The questions are flying in thick and fast. This first question, Bram, I'll throw it to you first. It's from Edward Neal. Thank you, Edward, for this question. Edward Neal asks, could you give some innovative, real-world, hard examples of how BI is going to be able to make a difference to hoteliers or revenue managers going forward? What's possible now that was not possible before?
I think there's 2 points here, and the first one is very simply put, it's a huge time saver. I was talking to a revenue manager earlier this week who was telling me that she spends between 6 to 8 hours a week on exporting, importing data, dumping it in Excel, manipulating it, creating her own visualizations, and basically making the data usable. Just off the bat, that's time saved. So that's one. And then I think the second point to mention here is really the combination of data from the different sources. So it's great that your PMS has a reporting functionality, maybe some visualization, the same for your RMS, the same for all these other tools that you might be using, but it's in the correlation of those data sources where the true value is, because your PMS and RMS will allow you to look at occupancy and ADR, and you might have a 30% year-over-year growth, which is fantastic, right? But if you then see that the market actually grew by 50%, that turns that 30%, it puts it in a different light. So being able to do exactly those types of analysis are some really, really quick wins. And then I haven't even spoken about total revenue, net revenue, which is all facilitated by most other systems.
Thank you, Bram. Niovi, what's possible now that wasn't possible before?
I think that understanding of exactly what Bram just said, how to quickly find the answers. Hard example as well to Edward's question would be, I was reading a survey recently. It was US based, but granted, apparently 40% of the consumers asked they were prepared to pay more for a personalized experience. We know that our data hides the information on that experience. So we can understand through business intelligence when the customers are coming to our property, what geographical markets they're coming from, which channels they like to book through, even their demographics. So what we can do is we can personalize marketing campaigns, we can personalize experience, we can go as far to what Bram mentioned before, look at the total profitability and total income from this customer and make an experience that is going to help them enjoy their stay more and essentially pay more, which is what we want as a business. So take it a step back, keep the customer as the main focus, which we have always done as an industry, but do it smarter and faster.
Thank you, Niovi. Another question, this will be to you, Jason. The question is from Walid Ahmed. Thank you, Walid, for the question. What is required from revenue leaders to ensure we are fully utilizing any BI tool rather than just having it?
Thanks for the question, Walid. That's a good one. I think it really comes down to making sure your team has all the training it needs to really drive value out of the platforms they have in front of us. And again, you can essentially figure out what's missing by talking to other hoteliers, talking to vendors, reading case studies, and seeing what successes others have had using the same sets of platforms. And not just, again, in the hotel industry, but outside as well, because that can give you real insight about the art of the possible. Because I think we all have this kind of failure of imagination, right? If we haven't seen it before, it's hard to imagine. And this will give you insight on what's possible. And then you can basically reflect that with your team and figure out how to give them the training or the ideas needed to actually, institute those kinds of insights on your own platform and changes to your own business.
Thank you, Jason. Apo, do you have any 2 cents to add on that particular question from Mr. Walid Ahmed?
Yeah, good question, Walid. Like Jason said, really, the value here is not only in time saving in terms of automating analytics, but at the same time giving the hotels the analytics that they cannot produce themselves because it's just not possible using Excel and doing it manually. But at the same time, it's also asset value enhancement, right? So you increase the value of that real estate by using business intelligence, which would give you the ability to make better decisions and increase your revenue share of the market, and in turn, increase the value of the assets for your owners. So, so the value of BI is not in just one dimension; it's in multi-dimensions, really.
Thank you very much, Bram. Let's go back to the future-looking binoculars on. What is Judo done? Have you already reached your endpoint, or what do you think BI will look like in 5 years' time from now?
Sure. I don't think I would join a company that was at the end station already, Eric. No, I mean, there's a couple of things that are moving, right? I think there's the evolution of the KPIs that we look at. Go back about a decade and ask any hotelier what the key KPIs were they would evaluate. They would say occupancy, ADR, RevPAR. If you were lucky, they might come back with GOP or GOPAR. But that's really changed. Well, we know that there's so many more granular KPIs that contribute eventually to those top line metrics. Think of lifetime value or lifetime profitability. Think of customer acquisition costs. And it's building stories at that level that will allow you to make tactical changes that are going to impact eventually occupancy, ADR, RevPAR, GOPAR, and so on. So I would say that's definitely one where a lot of hotel organizations, unfortunately, are still majorly analyzing the top line. Data sets will grow and evolve in complexity, so BI will take a more proactive role in basically storytelling, for example, by leveraging AI capabilities. So systems will start guiding users more actively to specific insights rather than a user going into this huge pool of data and saying, okay, where am I going to look first? So taking a user on that journey is a development. And then, of course, having customization capabilities so that each user can look at the data and the visualizations in a way that they find it the most easy to use, or in the way that it contributes to the goal that they're looking to achieve at that moment, which could require visualization A, whereas visualization B would help in a different context. So finally, I think BI tools will take all the insights that we're currently driving already into a two-way street. So rather than just saying, hey, here's a platform with data, we can also start pushing that data out to other systems. So consider an RMS that gets fed information on profitability by segment and channel to make better optimized pricing and distribution systems. I think there's a huge opportunity there to make their algorithms more effective.
That's interesting. Thank you for that, Bram. Niovi, if your throat will allow you, I just want to ask you how OTA Insight, or let's just say market intelligence BI tools, might look in 5 years from now versus what you're doing today. How many, maybe other planets, if we start colonizing them?
That's possible. That's definitely possible. It's remote collaboration. Everything is cloud-based, so why not? Why not universe-based?
That's right.
But no, I would like to piggyback off what Bram said. I think it's all about an ecosystem of applications and BI applications, and also the scalability to more stakeholders. So thinking about financial data, accounting, labor, of course, performance, guest satisfaction, guest profiles, and also external sources, ComSet benchmark, market intelligence, business trends. So all of these data sets and potentially different solutions coexisting within an ecosystem that will give insights to the user, but also alert them, possibly even implement or action some of these insights. And also scalability in the sense of who is using these systems. So potentially an extension of the use of these systems to operational departments, finance, support teams, as much as commercial teams, in order to get context, clarity, insights into the business as a whole. So that will tie all the department metrics into an overall business strategy.
Thank you, Niovi. Jason, can I throw this to you? Like, how does PACE look like, particularly, I guess, with your new investor? That must open up a world of possibilities. Maybe if you would like to share what I'm talking about with the panelists and our audience.
Sure. Just a short while ago, PACE had a pretty important transition. In that we became a part of Flyer, which is a US headquartered decision intelligence company, mainly focused for now on airlines. But together we are going to be the decision intelligence platform for travel and hospitality. Full stop. That's our objective. So we have incredible resources that come with being part of this huge organization in terms of capital, but also people. Really amazing people that are in the Flyer team already, and we're bringing on more ourselves every day. So I'm pretty excited about the future.
Fantastic. We have another question. Apo, I'll start with you. There's no name to the question, but basically the question says here, regarding hotel uptake, I presume it's uptake of BI tools. Is it slow or not? If slow, is it lack of knowledge, or lack of appetite, or something else? Please, Apo.
Thank you. A really good question. The uptake is not as fast as we all like it to be. And the primary reason for that is a combination of a few things. One, cost element, right? And the cost element is there, even though the barrier for entry is very, very low. Hotels might go ahead and burn $20,000 on a double spread Condé Nast ad. But then when it comes to investing that money in a BI platform, they think twice. And that stems from lack of knowledge or exposure to business intelligence, analytics, and the need for it. So it is not as fast. It is slow. It's a combination of several things. The underlying reason there is lack of knowledge and understanding and awareness of business intelligence and what the value it generates for a hotel organization and real estate.
Thank you, Apo. Bram, do hoteliers have a misconception of what BI actually is? You're on mute.
Apologies. Yeah, it's kind of what I was saying earlier, where there's a bit of, you know, blurriness around the concept of reporting versus dashboarding versus true what we all call BI. And you know, I think when it comes to the uptake of BI tools, there's definitely also an awareness challenge. You know, it's BI tools right now, we're not as commoditized, so to say, as rate shopping tools or channel managers. There's not a huge amount of us that are specifically tailored for hotels that can provide data that's modeled already for hotels. So there's very many generic tools like Excel or Power BI or Tableau, you name it, where you have to do a lot of the work yourselves. And I think all of our tools here around the table, you know, take all of that heavy lifting out of the hands of the hotelier to really be able to quickly start leveraging even the most basic data concepts to make better decisions. And if, you know, the hoteliers I've been speaking to for the past couple of weeks, yeah, they're pretty surprised with what's possible with this simple implementation that takes, you know.
No, good point. Niovi, do your hotel users even realize they're using a BI tool? It's just a rate shopper to them, right?
I think there's, you know, the responsibility on us to also educate and help hoteliers understand. At the end of the day, they want solutions that are going to help them do things faster and smarter. Depending on what kind of solutions they use, of course, it's different. But I think if I take it back to the report that Jason mentioned at the beginning of this call, that I also found extremely not shocking, not surprising, but shocking sometimes.
Maybe depressing as well.
Yes, a little bit, Jason. Yeah. So I think it was something like more than 50% of revenue managers' time is spent on non-revenue generating activities. So, you know, to move away from spreadsheet and all this admin and all this information, and to have everything done automatically or very quickly or like that, as Bram said, I think this is the true power here. And in that sense, they do, I think, understand that they're using a BI at the end of the day, especially when they tell us, it used to take me a day and a half to do a month-end report. I've experienced that myself in revenue management in my previous experience. It used to take me almost that much. I can do it in 15 seconds without being at all exaggerated. So it's also on us to educate and show what they can do.
Absolutely. I think you've summarized that perfectly well. It's a shared responsibility. And this webinar, I guess, is part of that education process for hoteliers worldwide of all different shapes and sizes, whether you're a big branded property or a small independent hotel. There's definitely ways you can operate more efficiently and more effectively. And just by virtue of having multiple BI solutions that don't perfectly overlap, you know, the Venn diagram for your solutions, there's only going to be a very, very small overlap. There's a broad segment of the hotel business that just the panelists' products here today take care of. So, Jason, where do you see the main confusion for hoteliers when they think about the term business intelligence or BI? Is there a barrier we need to break down for hoteliers?
Well, I think, you know, the hospitality industry is generally not the fastest at adopting new technology. So I think there's just an inbuilt inertia there that we need to work on because everyone tends to look at software as just a cost center. And really, we need to break that mentality because, you know, the products we provide drive performance. We will make you more money, right?
Yeah.
So I think that idea of getting a high ROI from a product that you're buying has to be front and center of the hotelier's minds, rather than just thinking, what's the cheapest product I can buy to get a job done as a checkbox exercise, right? It really has to be, is this the right product for me? Is it going to drive the right performance? And am I going to drive a high ROI out of this investment?
Yeah, good point. We have another question. I'll give this up to you. This question is basically no name, but it says, you're talking about revenue management. Is that the only area BI is usable?
A very good question. Actually, it addresses a big confusion that's out there. The answer is no. As I said earlier, anybody and everybody that has any say or any stake in the commercial sanity of a hotel or hotel company needs to use a BI platform, a decision intelligence platform. So no, revenue management, yes, revenue management is a discipline that's out there that's controlling inventory, managing prices, but then commercial decisions are made by everyone that touches revenue generation, beginning with the general manager in the hotel or the CEO in a hotel organization down to a revenue manager. So the answer is not just revenue management. The answer is commercial management, and within that, everybody's involved.
Yeah,
Thank you
I'd
very
actually
much.
like to add to that if I can, Eric, because
yes, please. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think like the most revenue or profit impactful way is definitely on the commercial side. But think about operations teams as soon as you start correlating productivity and review scores, or a push for increase in ADR. What happened to our review scores? Where are the issues in cleanliness or in I don't know, check-in or front desk service? All that type of data can also be visualized in BI tools and correlated within BI tools. And I think that's very powerful to have a much broader support within an organization for leveraging data. You all have the data already. It's all about how can we make it usable? How can you get more value out of it?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, panelists. I've really enjoyed this session on BI and business intelligence. I've also particularly enjoyed the questions from the audience members that have been flowing through thick and fast, which is always fantastic. We definitely prefer to listen to you, the hotelier, than listen to our own voice. So when you're asking questions, I personally enjoy them more because it's like, oh, there actually are people out there listening to what we're saying and reacting to that. So all of the panelists here, we have our names are clearly displayed under our little window here on Zoom. So don't be shy, get in touch. We're all on LinkedIn. I think if we see a hotelier or somebody who's attended this particular webinar on LinkedIn wanting to connect or discuss or follow or whatever, that's great. That's exactly what we're here for. We're here to listen primarily to what your concerns are, because if we don't listen, we don't learn. If we don't learn, we can't evolve. And I think this is part of the education process. We've all discussed this from different angles and different parts of the world today, how we have a shared responsibility for educating and learning from each other's experiences, both good and bad. So any final words? I'll give the floor to you, Niobe. Any final words?
No, I would just echo exactly what you said. The responsibility is shared. We don't know what we don't know. And that applies to us and to hoteliers as well. So I would say be open to learning new things. There is a plethora of products and solutions out there, and some of them are bound to be the best for your properties. And consider technology not as a cost, but as an investment. And I think that's the most impactful thing that you can do for your hotel business at the moment.
Bravo, I completely agree. Thank you, Niobe. Jason, any final thoughts?
Yeah, maybe I'll leave a new acronym out there. I mean, everyone talks about BI, but this is really about business performance. You should just be thinking about what performance this can drive for you, whether it can increase your profits, increase your revenue, help you manage your team better, help you manage your costs more efficiently. It's all about driving better performance. And so you should be thinking about clearly the ROI, because this is an investment to drive performance.
I love BP squared because it's business performance and better performance. I love it.
Business performance platform. Here you go.
Yeah, BPP, exactly. Apo, any final words from the Delta Lounge in Dallas?
Yeah. Yes, thank you. No, Atlanta. All right. I just want to leave this with the audience. There are 4 stages of business intelligence. There's descriptive stage, which is you get to see what happened, right? And most of the BI platforms are there. When you get to the second stage, we call that diagnostic stage, which is in simple terms, why did it happen, right? We know what happened, but why did it happen? Only a few are there. And there's a third stage, and that's predictive stage. And that's talking about what might happen in the future. I'm not aware of any decision intelligence or BI platform that is out there that does that in addition to us. Being predictive and giving the ability to show what might happen in the future. And the last stage, which is no one is there, is what should we do next, right? So giving the ability to explain what the next steps should be, building on all the other elements of BI. So in your journey, as you go through this, you need to look at the 4 stages and decide internally which stage you're in as a hotel company, and go through that journey one at a time, as opposed to going all out all at once.
I think the 4th stage is prescriptive is the word you're looking for, and the data scientists at SAS would probably beg to differ with that particular point of view, but we appreciate...
As would always.
Yes. So Bram, any final thoughts, please?
Apo, I'd love to give you a demo of our predictive analytics functionalities right now at another time. But I'd love for now just to say that it doesn't take a lot to get started for a hotel, really, with BI. And the biggest wins are going to be the lowest hanging fruits as well. They're going to be the easiest ones to get to. So have no fear, we're here. And I think that goes for all of us. And I want to say thanks, Eric, for moderating today. You've been a blast.
Thanks, Bram. I've genuinely enjoyed it. And I'm genuinely looking forward to a slice of pizza and an icy cold beer real soon. Thank you, everyone who's tuned in. We'll see you next time, but that's all for now. Ciao for now.